words sprinkled throughout, and I'm terrified. But I'm going to give it a shot. Kalispera. Well, good afternoon, and welcome, and thanks for joining me. Thank you, Ambassador Pyatt, and thank you, Nicholas, for that warm introduction. I feel as if I'm truly among friends. Just like when I'm with Greek Americans back in Kansas, who always keep me straight. I'd like to welcome Foreign Minister Dendias for being here as well, and many other senior officials. We had a great meeting today. I also want to thank Stavros Nikaros Foundation for this absolutely stunningly gorgeous facility that you let us be in today. I think it's completely appropriate that we're here in this very special space that is so beautiful, so gorgeous, like the relationship between our two countries. It's a privilege for me to visit the cradle of democracy. As many of you might know, I first ran for Congress now a decade ago as a conservative, constitutionally faithful Republican, a small government, pro-economic growth Republican. The whole idea was to return America to our roots, to put power back in the hands of ordinary people. And of course, we traced that idea to this very place, back to Greece. Where would we be without you? A decade ago, I would have been delivering a very different set of remarks here today. The outlook for both of our countries was frankly pretty bleak. Our economies were struggling. Our defenses were weakening. Our futures looked a lot more dim than they do today, but no more. Today I'm pleased here to talk about renewal, American renewal and Greek renewal, and what we can do together to show the way forward. Earlier this year I had the chance to be in the Netherlands. I co-hosted a global entrepreneurial summit. One of the individuals who came was a woman named Daphne Chestrini, a Greek co-founder of an app named Clio Muse that offers customized tours. Today she's adding new subscribers, building her business, and helping people see the world. And I'm glad that she's with us here today. Daphne, thanks for being here. I tell that story because for me, unleashing the entrepreneurial spirit across this nation is a game changer. It's a game changer for Greece, it's a game changer for the region, it's a game changer for America. Over the last 4 years, we've seen both of our nations recognize that we have to put faith in risk-taking and not redistribution. And we didn't come to that conclusion because we were forced to do so. Our voters simply saw what did and did not work. We've done this too. We once layered on red tape, which made it impossible to achieve business growth. Now we're slashing it. We once deterred investment, which made it hard for companies to get the capital that they needed. And now we're attracting it. We once stifled entrepreneurship, which did good people with good ideas, people like Daphne stuck in unproductive jobs. And now we're encouraging these risk-taking entrepreneurs. And we know that this formula works because it's succeeded everywhere it's been tried. The Reagan and Thatcher revolutions, India in the 1990s, the Trump expansion today, and we think in Brazil in the days and weeks and months ahead. And we know it will work here too. So the question is this: how do we sustain this virtuous cycle of investment and expansion and hiring for ordinary people who want a job to take care of their families? That is, how do we keep showing the way forward together? So what my team, Ambassador Pyatt and his team here on the ground are doing in Athens, as we discuss this daily with our counterparts. And it's what I discussed with Greece's leaders earlier today. It begins with a fundamental faith that cultivating and growing our private sector ties works between our two countries. Risking private capital, the ultimate sign of confidence in an economy, and America is prepared to do that by investing here today. We've seen it already, companies that are truly betting on Greece. Pfizer and Cisco have recently announced new investments. Tesla and Deloitte are already here. ExxonMobil has now joined a consortium to search for new energy sources near Crete. And earlier this week, the Prime Minister inaugurated a new €300 million gas-fired power plant featuring GE technology. This way forward is sustained by stable and predictable rule of law and basic property rights, and a commitment to honoring them always. And it's solidified at a personal level. There are more than 1.4 million Americans of Greek descent. And American tourists of all backgrounds are flocking to the ancient stones of the Acropolis in greater numbers than ever before, and I am confident they'll do so more and more and more. It's exciting that our renewal has arrived at this important moment. And as President Trump said at the United Nations General Assembly just last week, our time is one of great contests, high stakes, and clear choices. And that's just as true for the Eastern Mediterranean as it is for the rest of the world. Take the Balkans, which remain an area of strategic competition. Take Russia, which undermines the sovereignty of your neighbors and tries to stifle religious freedom for many Orthodox believers. Take the Islamic Republic of Iran, whose terrorist proxies have destabilized the Middle East, turned Lebanon into a client state, and helped create a refugee crisis that continues to impact Greece to this day. Take China. China, which is using economic means to coerce countries into lopsided deals that benefit Beijing and leave its clients mired in debt. Take two, the fierce competition for energy resources, which could create serious economic and strategic instability in this region. What's great about each of these is that we are seeing Greece take on these challenges, showing the way forward. You've secured the PESCO agreement. It's a step towards stability in the Balkans. You've upheld sanctions on Russia for its invasion of Crimea and eastern Ukraine. You refused an Iranian ship filled with oil for the Assad dock in Greek harbors. And you're taking a hard look at the risk of allowing China to build sensitive 5G networks. Instead, you've made good decisions. You've grown ties with Israel to secure energy supplies, and you're also beginning to see the world just as we do. And it's why I want to be here. It's why I've come to Greece, to expand a partnership that's already at the best level that I think it has ever been. I was very proud last year to have the opportunity, I was fairly new as Secretary of State, to host the first U.S.-Greek strategic dialogue. Starting on Monday, our teams will hold the second such meeting, and much has come from these. You've given us greater access to your military bases, and we've made new investments in them to our mutual benefit and to the communities surrounding them. Our troops are training together more frequently, and yours even hosted ours for Thanksgiving at a base. Our law enforcement and border security cooperation has helped to manage the flows of migrants and refugees arriving here in Greece. And just this last March, I had the opportunity to meet in Jerusalem the former Prime Minister and the Prime Ministers of Israel and Cyprus to talk about energy. We are eager to set down clear rules and a strong line of cooperation between our two countries. My aim, the aim of President Trump, the aim of our State Department, is to help Greece reap its own windfall in energy, just in the same way that America has. We know this too. We know that doing this together is producing a strong and prosperous Greece. It's good for you, it's good for us, and more broadly, it's good for Europe as well. I look around, and I don't see strong and stable governments in many places on this continent. Growth is stalling in parts of Europe, places that were the traditional engines of prosperity. Greece can show the way forward. The Greek democracy has proved incredibly resilient. Now the Greek economy can show the same ability to bounce back strong. Look, it's a bit selfish. America needs to keep Greece successful and to help secure the Eastern Mediterranean. So let's continue our work to stop malign Russian influence, both within Greece and within your neighbors' borders. Let's continue to exert pressure on the Islamic Republic of Iran, the world's largest state sponsor of terror, until that regime becomes a normal nation. Let's take the EU seriously when it calls China a systemic rival. Let's uphold the rule of law and build partnerships with free nations so that we can extract energy resources in a peaceful and coordinated way. I'll close and then I'll have a chance to answer some questions with a short story. The story is about Olga. Olga, for those of you who don't know, is a dredging barge. She sunk to the bottom of the harbor 9 years ago, all 150 feet and 800 tons of her. It's a problem. The hulking mass of metal and the debris that collected on top of it blocked the access to a cargo bureau that was critical to NATO operations. It limited the port's capacity for commercial growth. But the United States came to help. We put up more than $2 million to lift and remove old from our watery grave. The U.S. military, the Greek military, contractors, local dive team began working in August. They've been cutting old into 30-ton sections and raising her from the bottom. The good news, the project is on track. It'll be completed at the end of this month, right on schedule. And now our militaries, together, will be able to make use of this port and its strategic capabilities. New commercial doors will open soon as well. And so whether it's Olga's story or Daphne's, the future looks very bright for Greece. Your democracy has held true. You've taken bold steps forward for economic growth. You're showing up relationships with America and other free nations that value democracy in the same way that you do. You should know America is eager to keep showing the way right alongside you. Good luck. God bless you, and may God bless Greece and the United States of America.
Thank you very much for being here with us today.
It's great to be with you.